Welcome everybody to this week's edition of Valpo Basketball Preview, along with head coach Bryce Drew. This is Todd Eichhound. We're brought to you as always by the South Shore Convention and Visitors Authority. And coach, a 1-1 week. As we've seen, it's very difficult to win on the road. I think the Horizon League right now sits 6-1. Home teams winning 6 out of the 7 games thus far. And we saw that at Oakland, a place which has always been difficult really for most teams to play in. The Valpo Oakland games have always been tight there, and it was on Friday night.
Yeah, very competitive game. Went down to one possession basically in regulation. We were able to score going to overtime, and it was a great game from a spectator standpoint. I think it was very entertaining to watch.
You were able to come from 16 down, and that we haven't had many games where you've had to come from way back, and it was good to see. I guess from the positive standpoint from the game is you guys fought hard to get back in the game against a team which played very well that night.
Yeah, it was proud of the resiliency of our guys. We had been there before. We were down, I think, 13 earlier in the year. I think we were close to double digits at IPFW earlier in the year. And so our guys have been there before. I think, anytime you go on the road, you have to overcome, a lot of adversity. And one thing in the last 3 years we played there, free throws have been 93 to 40, 31 to 13 in 3 games as an average. And so we got to find a way to get to the line more on the road. I think will help.
I think a lot of teams are probably saying that, right? How do you get calls on the road? It's not easy. You came back at home against a Youngstown State team that I thought played pretty well. They getting really good guard play. It was really a solid effort from them. You guys kind of fought through it, and you got some big games. Obviously, Keith Carter came up really big for you on Sunday before the injury. He was spectacular for 37 minutes.
Yeah, 15, 10, 4 assists, 0 turnovers. I mean, if that's an NBA game, you're looking at a great triple-double just with the numbers and how assists go in the pro game. So in the college version, those are tremendous numbers that he put up, and he controlled the tempo and just did a tremendous job for us.
And really, as we've moved over for the past month, Bashil Fernandez is playing tremendous basketball. He's just changing everything on the defensive end, and now we're starting to see, I think over the past week, we saw him with a quick move on the baseline for a basket. We saw a jump hook which looked very fluid. In a matter of a month, he's become a different basketball player, and he makes a huge difference for you, especially in conference.
A huge difference. He's second in the country going into last week in number of blocks. He's done a tremendous job protecting the rim for us. But what you said, if he can give us, a few points on the block or put back some different things there, that really elevates his game and our team. And
8 offensive rebounds. In a game in which you guys did not shoot the ball well on Sunday, you guys won because of the second chance points. And 8 offensive rebounds is a ridiculous number. But not only was he getting offensive rebounds, he was putting it in good spots and allowing you guys to get back into the offense. He didn't rush things back up. And I couldn't say enough, and I'm sure you feel the same way about his progression over the past month. It's been unbelievable.
It's been tremendous. It's helped our team a lot. It's been nice to see him feel comfortable, what you said, with the ball, and to be able to slow down and make decisions to pass or shoot. And it's showing with his play.
All right, as we look ahead, and you've got 2 home games, and then that real difficult 1-week road swing where you'll play 3 games in 3 different towns and on 3 different kind of separate trips, an unusual week in the following week. So you got to get the 2 at home for sure, no doubt about it. And now you may have to do it without your point guard and Keith Carter. Obviously, for those at the game, for those watching, a very scary moment when he went down, a lot of pain. Give us an idea of where we stand. We're taping on Monday. We might not know much about where things stand. Maybe we'll know more later, but maybe give us an idea of what you know about the future.
Yeah, he was definitely in a lot of pain. I think it was obvious for everybody there, and he ended up dislocating his big toe. And so it went right back into place, and everything was great there. And so we'll be getting further treatment this week. And, right now, how he bounces back, we just don't know. But we'll plan as if he's going to play, and we'll also plan if he's not going to play. So our team will be ready both ways.
Okay. As you talk about him possibly not playing, does that mean we'll see Max Joseph get an opportunity to play a little more?
Well, he's an extremely tough kid, and he bounces back quick. So,
You're leaning more towards hoping he's going to play.
We're still optimistic he's going to be back soon playing for us. But if not, other guys prepare all year for these occasions. And, you got Max Joseph, Nick Davidson, Victor Nickerson. We have other guys who have played that position that are comfortable with the ball. And so we feel confident that no matter who we put on the floor, that those guys will be confident and ready to go.
Home game on Thursday against UIC, and that means the return of Jay Harris, I guess, to the Athletics Recreation Center, who's averaging 14 points a game for them. he's shooting, no surprise, he's shooting over 92% from the free throw line. So we know one
Yeah.
thing, as you knew all along, not to foul him. But here's a guy that you recruited.
Yeah.
You were very, the relationship between the recruiting coach and the player is always a tight situation. I guess in many ways it'll be good to see him, but you got to find a way to defend him.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I was watching film last night, and it was just hard seeing him out there in a different uniform, actually watching him play, because I'm so used to having him play for us. And so, it'll be nice to see him. On the other end, I know he's ultra competitive, and we're really competitive. So once the ball goes up, we're both going to want to win. But we do need to find a way to stop him. He's our leading scorer, and he's played well for him.
Over the past few years, you've had a big advantage getting the ball inside against UIC, and again, you'll have the size advantage on Thursday night. And I'm sure that's one thing you'll try to exploit.
I think our team's done a good job adapting to certain games. Whether we've driven the ball more, shot the ball, or gone inside, and hopefully we'll keep that going to find where we can get some baskets at. But they play really good defense. I think this is some of the best defense I've seen them play, in years, and they're very quick, a lot quicker than their teams in the past have been.
One team that started the conference play at 2-0 is Cleveland State, and they'll be in town on Saturday. And you look at their starting five, maybe as good as any starting five in the league. Right now they don't have a lot of depth, but that starting five, you look at it, is very dangerous. They were in many ways a little disappointed with, I'm sure, how they played in the non-conference, but they've got Charlie Lee back, and they're starting to turn the corner, it looks like.
I think that hurt him in their non-conference schedules. He wasn't there for part of it. And then once he did come back, it usually takes a couple games to get that rhythm. So I think the team you see now is the team that they've been. It's just they need to get a chance to prove it earlier in the year. And we all know how good they are, and they'll be obviously ready when they come in here on Saturday.
They've gotten some really good play from Trey Lewis, who
Lewis,
is
yeah.
really an exceptional talent. He can do so many things, maybe their most versatile player. And you've got a guy in Tavon Walker who's got some similar skills to Trey Lewis. That might be a fun matchup to watch.
I think there'll be a lot of really good matchups across the board, and Tavon's played excellent for us. Hopefully he can keep that up.
Good luck this week.
Thanks, Todd.
For head coach Bryce Drew, this is Todd Eichout. Thanks for joining us today on Valpo Basketball Preview, brought to you by the South Shore Convention Visitors Authority.